Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. I'm running out of adjectives. I had massive, I had large, I had crazy, I had insane. Um, I'm just running out of adjectives to describe the unboxings that I'm doing. This one is actually my largest ever. Uh, I had real trouble just carrying these boxes down to my comic room in order to film this video. The Each box weighed 70 pounds, and there were 3 boxes. So just massive unboxing that I'm going to be doing. Uh, and I'm going to show you the 3 boxes, and then I'm going to open up the boxes and figure out how many videos it's going to be and what is going to be inside. There's just so many great things. So many great things. Like the 3 boxes, like if you just had that as your collection, it would be an amazing collection. That's how great these boxes are. You'll see. I'm going to pause the video for a minute, and then I'm going to show you the 3 boxes, and then you'll get a sense of what I'm talking about. Okay, so here's the 3 boxes. You can see the big box on top, another big box underneath, and the third big box. It even says caution heavy, and that's an understatement. These boxes, they were so heavy. Brutal, brutal taking these down. So I don't even know where I'm going to put all the stuff that's inside these boxes, because it is just a massive collection. If you think about it, each box is equivalent to about 4 long boxes in terms of the size of these things. So just this alone would be like equivalent to 12 long boxes worth of comics. So crazy, so insane. I don't know what to call this unboxing, but it is definitely large. So yeah, so that was on like the boxes. I'm gonna pause the video again. I'm gonna kind of open it all up, figure out where to put the stuff. I don't even know where to put the comics. I've run out of space. So yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna show you a part of this collection, and it'll be a multi-part video. So, but I'll try to make each part super fun and more insane as it goes through as well. So stay tuned. Pausing it again, and so we got through the boxes, and then I recorded a big long video where I showed some pretty amazing stuff. Some reason that video didn't get saved. Part 2, part 3, part 4, all those parts got saved, but for some reason the clip after I showed the boxes after that didn't get saved. So I showed a bunch of stuff. I'm going to show it again now. So just so you know, if there's a few items, I'm not 100% sure what items I showed, but I think I found the ones that were from that first video. And I'm going to show them. So hopefully it's the right stuff, and we'll see. Okay, so we're going to start out with this group of books. The first one that I showed, and I was super excited to get this, was Ism. And this is from the Rippaverse. Basically, one of my things is I really love supporting comic creators and people who are like-minded, that maybe are a little bit rebellious against the current state of affairs with comics. And Eric July, who's the guy that started Rippaverse, he basically was complaining. He said, comics nowadays, they're always pushing an agenda and all this kind of stuff. And he decided to put his money where his mouth is. So, he backed this comic all on his own. He set up his own crowdfunding site and everything. And he put his money where his mouth is. He basically created a comic book, and to something which he wrote himself, and he basically made something with no agenda and just good storytelling. That was his goal. And basically his crowdfunding went insane because he promoted it, and he said, hey, look, I'm not pushing an agenda. I'm just going to tell a great story with great superheroes, make classic kind of awesome stories. And I think that's what he did with this book. And his crowdfunding, I think it generated $2 to $3 million. It was like huge, massive success. I picked up this is the B cover. The A cover is different. It's like more the guy focus. I just like the girl. So I picked up the B cover. I was pretty excited actually to get this book. It is really high quality. The way he printed it, you can tell he loves comics. And the way it was shipped, I wish I had the original packing that he sent it in. It was just amazing. It was just, I've never seen a comic shipped so well, where it just had this amazing packaging that would prevent any potential damage to the book. He really cares and loves these books. And he had to send out thousands of orders. For him to do that kind of level of care for each book, I got to give him high marks. So this is Ism. I was super excited to get this, and this was in that first video that I'm really, well, for you guys, it's the first video. For me, I've recorded everything and I'm coming back. But this was in the first video, so it was pretty great. Another thing that was kind of fun, if you watch some of my other unboxings, I've been collecting a lot of these men's magazines. And what I'm talking about is like Man's World, Men's Adventures, all these kind of books that are kind of funny. Like, at least I find them funny. They're just over the top, overly sexual, overly whatever, sort of silly. And this is one that I saw, and it was like really cheap. I think I paid $10 shipped. It's not the greatest shape. It's like Spur. It's kind of like this Western, good girl cover. And it's like sex journey around the horn. And I flew the treason run. It's kind of silly. And, I just thought it was kind of cool. So these are from this is from 1959. So, after the Comic Code Authority came in, the only way you could do kind of more risque stuff was in a magazine format. And some of the magazines that came out in the late 50s and early 60s were insane. They would have like crazy Nazi covers. They'd have just some really funny stuff. And I'm starting to collect a lot of that. So I have, I'm getting a few here and there of these books. That was next on my list. Another one that I was super excited to get this book, actually, because one of my viewers, they commented that, asking me if I had ever heard of this character that was kind of a very influential character. It was the character that led to Swamp Thing, Man Thing. And both creators of those other characters contributed, like they attributed this character to those character creations. So the character is known as the Heap. And the Heap was originally from Air Fighters comics. But basically they brought the character back in the Bronze Age. So this is a Bronze Age comic, I think from the early 70s. And this is the Heap #1. So that's what the Heap looks like. And basically he was like a German soldier that was shot down and sort of got mingled with a swamp. And like he became this swamp creature. So it's kind of a cool story. And it's just really cool that it's kind of a major piece of history. But this was the later version of him. I'm actually trying to get his first appearance from the Golden Age, but that's, it's a hard book to find. So something to look forward to. So the next thing is another thing that I've been collecting and trying to get a complete run of, or not a complete run, but get the early issues of it, like 1 through 10 at least, maybe 1 through 20, depending on how far I go. And I'm almost there. I need a few more issues. Is Daredevil. So this is Daredevil #6, Man Without Fear. It is the first appearance of somebody or other, probably. I don't think so. Like, I think #5 is the first appearance of the Matador. #6, I think it's like, the Fellowship of Fear, maybe. A lot of these early Daredevil books were really introducing characters. Some characters were more popular than others. But this is, so this is actually a kind of an interesting book because it is not only early Daredevil, but it is kind of an interesting price variant. What would happen is when they would ship some of the books that they would send over to the UK, they would basically use a price variant where you'd see like, you know, the pence copies, right? Well, others, they would do the following, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here, is they would put this, let's see if I can do it, right there. See the stamp? That was their way of denoting that it's a British version, and that would be the British price that people would pay. So this is a price variant as well. So it's kind of a cool book, a little extra history behind it. I gotta still remove it from the board. It's stuck to the board. They really taped it well, so I gotta get that tape off. But yeah, but kind of a cool book. So as I said, I'm trying to get 1 through 10 at least. So far, I'm missing one issue, which is the first Matador actually. Another book that came in that's really cool, and it was I did an interview with Open by Chance, and he actually did a video about this book where he was saying, oh, you know, not many people realize, but this is a really key book that's sort of under the radar. And it was Rust number 13. This is the first appearance of the Terminator in comics. So, you know, the Terminator, you know, with Arnold Schwarzenegger, well, this is the comic version of that character where they made their first appearance. So a very cool book that I didn't even know. I thought it was a later company that produced the first Terminator book, but actually it was this book, Rust number 12. So one to look out for. Very cool to get this in my collection. And it's not an expensive book because it's one of those ones that it is under the radar. People don't realize this key significance of that book. Okay, and another book that, as I said, I was getting a lot of these. This one's actually, okay, I'm going to show it. There's a little bit of nudity. It's cartoon nudity, so I'll kind of pretend that it's legit. But it's cartoon capers. And the reason I'm picking these up is I'm a big fan of Bill Ward. And basically, these cartoon capers had Bill Ward artwork in them. So you can find in, like, this is Cordis Comics. But you can also find Humorama, I believe it is, that also contain magazines that contained Bill Ward art. And I'm a big fan of Bill Ward. You know, his stuff is pretty awesome. It's just very sexy, you know, ways that he draws the women. And, you know, I'm a big fan. So whenever I can pick up his artwork from any magazine, I try to do so. And I'm pretty sure this contains his artwork. So I'm looking forward to flipping through it and seeing if there's Bill Ward artwork inside. Next, and I hope that these are all right from this same part, was another collection that I'm trying to get a complete set of is Alley Oop. Now, a lot of the Alley Oop covers were done by Alex Schomburg. So, you know, it's kind of a cool book by itself. I kind of like, a lot of them had these kind of good girl art covers as well. This is kind of a pirate theme. Now, Alley Oop is this guy right here. That's Alley Oop right there. And I have his first appearance, which is in The Funnies, number 1, from 1934, I believe. And it's just kind of a cool book, yeah, one that I wanted to get in my collection. As I said, I'm trying to get the run. I don't have many issues from it yet, but I'm working on it. So this is Alley Oop number 13. Next, this is kind of a one that I just thought was a great cover. Halloween, like you'll notice that in this unboxing all the way through, I kind of look at a lot of Halloween related items because I was like, you know, it was whenever I do these orders, it's usually the way it works is I place orders like maybe 2 months ago. They get shipped to Stackry, and then Stackry consolidates them, and then after about 30 days I send them. So when you see this, it might be like December or end of November when you actually see this video. So what ends up happening is, you know, it takes like, you know, so the stuff that you're seeing is really stuff that I was buying like two months ago. You know, so it's a lot of Halloween themed because I was in that Halloween mode, and this is kind of in that Halloween mode. So this is Go-Go and Animal, Tippy's friends, and I just thought it was a great cover. It's a great witch cover. I was doing a video about witches, and this was very inspirational to me. So I thought it was a really great cover. So and it was a very affordable book. It was like, it's not in the greatest shape, to tell you the truth, but you know, I thought it was a really cool one. It's just a great Good Girl art cover too. Okay, so there's that. And the next one that's kind of cool, and this is a really under the radar book. If you like spec, if you like the modern spec, I don't know. I'm trying to sound cool. I'm not. I wish I was cool. Okay, if you like the modern spec, this is one of those books that is like a really under the radar book that people don't realize how cool it is. And it was my friend Falco that told me about this book. I didn't even know about it. And it's X-Men #1, not the #1 that most people think about, but this is X-Men #1, the Toys R Us limited edition. And this has the first sort of crossover between Wolverine and Deadpool. And with the whole spec around Deadpool, this book got kind of hot. Or, well, it could get hot once people know about it, I should say. But this is kind of one of those major keys that is under the radar. Like, other people are speccing on the wrong books, because this actually was earlier with both of them appearing in it. So this is kind of a big key that most people don't even realize. And it's Toys R Us limited edition X-Men #1. So kind of cool. If you watched like several videos ago, I don't know how long ago it was, I was collecting a lot of art books. And this is just a cool art book. I just thought it was a very nice cover. This is Inferno, the art of Thomas Giorello. I probably brutalized the name. Giorello? I'm hoping I'm saying it right. So yeah, so this was just a really cool art book. I kind of like these art books. I think they're interesting. You know, I like the more sexy ones in general. So yeah, so this is Inferno #1. You know, the art of Thomas Giorello. Okay, and we got then. There was a kind of an interesting collection that was mixed in, and this is just the first taste of it. In the part 2 of this series, I show the full collection, and it is insane. It is like, wow. Okay, but that's in part 2. You gotta wait for that. I'm just gonna give you a taste of what is in part 2. And when I first recorded this video, I had no idea what these books were. I was like, why are these in here? But then I realized afterwards what they were. And it'll all make sense once you watch part 2. If you watch part 2, which will be out whenever it's out, you will, what I'm saying right now will make sense. These books are part of a pretty cool collection that I show in part 2. So this is Smile, and it's just like, this is an underground comic. I actually have this comic already, believe it or not. But it was part of this collection of underground comics. So this is Smile #2, sorry. And then we got Venture. These are like kind of magazine formats, so they were a little bit larger. Just really great stuff. I actually almost bought this because it features Neil Adams artwork. You can see that at the very bottom. And this is early Neil Adams, so kind of a cool book, Venture, and just a really great book. But it just happened to be in the collection that I picked up, so it's like, wow, I'm super happy to get that collection because it was a book that I wanted. And another thing that's kind of cool is they had these First Kingdoms. This is book #4, and these were, you know, the artwork's kind of so-so, but very intricate artwork though. So First Kingdom, I actually had some of these books from back in the 90s. But yeah, I thought they were interesting. So this is number 4. And then we got 2 copies of book number 2. So this is book number 2, First Kingdom, The First Kingdom. They're quite big, so I kind of have to almost zoom out a little bit. So yeah, it's number 2. And as I said, got 2 copies of that one. And lots of nudity in that, I can tell. Sorry about that. And then this is a really interesting one. This is Dan O'Neill Comics. And this is just another kind of cool underground comic. And it's, it's making fun of Dell Comics, actually, because it refers to itself as Hell Comics. So and it has like the same kind of symbol, but it's instead of Dell, it's Hell. But these are just really great underground comics, very rare. A lot of these underground comics, they were kind of rebelling against the Comic Code Authority during the late 60s, early 70s. And they went extreme. Comic Code Authority, was against like sex, drugs, rock and roll, all the fun stuff. And they basically went the other way around. So you get like comics like about cocaine and drugs and sex to the max. Racism, like everything, like almost to the extreme, was in the underground comics. And they really, what it was artistic freedom, where they could basically create whatever they had in their mind, and they would kind of go to the max with it. They would just go over the top. And a lot of the, good and bad, like sometimes it was like it would work, sometimes it wouldn't work, but you would get like really creative stuff, and another thing that was kind of that they were rebelling against was the conformity that happened after the Comic Code. Like what would happen is artists would be kind of forced into like styles, so you'd have to almost like factory, you have to make your character look like this, and you couldn't make your character look like that, and it was kind of very boring art in a way. So these artists really were rebelling against that and being really creative. So you get like artists like Von Bode, Robert Crumb, like Dan O'Neill, all these kind of really creative artists that were popping up in the late 60s, early 70s that were just being really awesome in terms of what they were doing. So it's kind of cool to get a collection of these books, and you're going to see some amazing books in part 2. So this is the end of part 1. I kind of want to set it up so you can see part 2. It's going to be, this is going to be a really great unboxing in general. I kind of see the future now. I know what stuff's in here now. It is just amazing. So stay tuned for all the parts. There's going to be a bunch of parts. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It is a really fantastic unboxing. So thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, all that stuff. And bye for now.